which is partially embedded as well in the Amazon queue, but at the same time, it is a separate thing as well. And it got support for CloudFormation, AWS CDK, and Terraform. And it's also available in regular Visual Studio. So not just Visual Studio Code that is available already since the beginning, but at the same time, it's also available in Visual Studio. So that's enough about Q. Let's do the review about the poll. Maybe there are some new results. There is already a question of the Q. So costs. So at this point, it depends on the functionality that you are using. So if you are talking about the assistant that is available in Docs or inside the management console, it doesn't have an additional pricing. So it works in terms of your context in your account without any additional pricing. In terms of the other services, it will depend how much you will do, obviously, and this will vary case by case. So let's move to the second poll, and let's determine which category we should tackle first. So you can vote under the same QR code on top of which category we will go as the next step, which will be most interesting for you. I think I have an idea which one can win, especially that we talked about InfoSec, and there's IoT in name. So let's give them 1-2 minutes to see in what topics you will be interested. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, feel free to shout out, not just post them on the Slido. We can also talk in person. Exactly. Yeah, security is winning so far, so let's give it a little bit of time. Any questions?
Any questions? No.
Okay, so far so good. Generative AI databases, developer tools, security, identity, and compliance. Okay, so let's move to the security and identity and compliance, because that is a pretty interesting category in itself. So in terms of that, I have prepared a list all of those interesting stuff. And I also have some of that summarized in the slide deck. So let me open it. Yep, so security here. First things first, how many of you heard about IAM Access Analyzer? Yeah, majority. So for those of you who haven't heard, this is essentially a tool. Oops, sorry. This is essentially the tool that helps you to manage, to detect how is IAM used in your, how IAM policies are used in your organization, detect certain anti-patterns, and so on and so on. And now you can actually apply custom policy checks, and you can do use the automated reasoning to check if your IAM is complete. And this is also one of the pretty interesting research if you are into this computer science nerdy stuff, because this is explained on the Amazon Science blog pretty well. Some of you probably heard about this project called Zelkova, which is actually the baseline for this. So this is first update in terms of security. There are a few more, obviously. This is actually inspection how those unused access to have visualization of the unused access inside of IAM policies. Then we have updates for Identity Center and AWS Analytics. So now you can actually move those elements from Identity Center, and use the trusted identity from there in the quick site, in other elements like Amazon Redshift, access to the EMR clusters, lake formation, and so on, and also to Amazon S3. Then there is some improvements in terms of single sign-on and auditing of the user access across the services. Another update that is pretty important is our updates for Security Hub. We have data visualizations, new widgets, and elements from there. Again, iterative stuff, but helpful. And also there is one additional thing which is interesting, which is the central configuration capabilities for Security Hub. So it actually allows you to enable centrally and configure centrally the rules and standards available in your accounts and regions. So this is one of the things that was missing and actually helped a lot in terms of bigger installations and with multiple accounts in the organizations. Another thing that is pretty interesting is how to do the metadata enrichment and how to find those things. But this is, again, iterative stuff for the security hub. And then a few updates for the guard duty. So there is runtime threat detection for ECS, again something iterative, update regarding the tier, and you can finally enable it from the AWS organization centrally. This will also, this identification threat, but was also available for EC2, but it was available in a very limited context. Now it's enhanced and improved. And again, can be centrally enabled. One simple incremental update that was very frequently mentioned was to use Secrets Manager in a batch API context. And that was one of the things that was missing, and it was added. Pretty simple change, but very, very useful. And then a few updates for Amazon Inspector. So first things first, AWS Lambda got code scanning, and now you can actually leverage the generative AI and the model that is behind the Amazon Inspector to detect and remediate the potential issues inside. And also, you will be able to receive actionable insights how to fix those things. So it's not just the detection, but also suggestions for the remediation. And there is also agentless ability to scan assessments for Amazon EC2. Before that, Inspector was fully agent based, so you need to have SSM agent installed. And now you can actually use this without installing the SSM agents, which is interesting one, especially if you have a very restricted environment when you couldn't use the SSM agent. Then finally, because that's one of the things that were missing, and also that was one of the things that was even featured as a missing thing in the Werner's keynote. Finally, Amazon Inspector addresses the container security threats through the CI/CD. So you can actually integrate this with CI/CD tools and automatically detect and scan container images in ECR and AWS Lambda function artifacts. Then a few updates for Amazon Detective. This is a service that actually aggregates all of those elements, and it's combined with the security lake and gets you additional information about the details regarding CloudTrail logs, VPC flow logs, and elements of the whole security suite in one centralized place. And also, it actually checks those integrations with the guard duty that I mentioned, and also allows to integrate and visualize them in a single place. Yeah, this one is also an incremental one. You can find the group summaries using generative AI, so it actually tries to identify what will be, how to name those groups that will be detected. And this is all a visualization. So regarding security, this is everything that I have on the slides. Before reInvent, there was one very important announcement about Amazon Verified Permissions. There is an update for both console and visualizations, and also another batch API that was missing in the Verified Permissions. How many of you heard about Verified Permissions? Raise your hand. Okay, so this is a service that allows you to plug in seamlessly the authorization in your applications. So you don't have to code those authorization rules. You can code them in a language called CDAR, externalize it to the service, and then evaluate those policies based on your requests. And one thing that was missing was actually a batch API that allows you to do it in a single thing. And that is essentially feature added to the service, but also a cost optimization, because you are still billed per request base, but you can actually put a lot more into that single request and then save some money on that. So let's see what was the second biggest category, generative AI. No further updates. If you would like to change it, we can stop here if there will be any questions. Any questions so far? Something? All right, so let's move to the generative AI part. Oh, in the poll? Oh, thank you. There are actually. Would you share the recap slides? Yes. In the new in-depth guard duty EC2 scanning agentless. As far as I know, yes, but I need to check and refer the documentation. I don't want to make it wrong. And how inspector work without agent and SSM? Does it scan only network and services? So this is actually an interesting question regarding the integration. As far as I know, before that, it required SSM to actually, from the inside, do the full checks. And at this point, you are doing the external check, as you suggested in the question. So again, it checks the open ports and services. And it is actually a limited one, but without an agent, you are not able to do a lot more. So that's a very rightful assumption. But still, it is a basic stuff. Okay, cool. Let's check the poll. Maybe the order changed. So let's move to the... All right, so we have Q&A. Let's move to the second question. So generative AI is still on the top. Let's move then to the announcements from the generative AI space. So obviously, a lot of announcements were around Amazon Bedrock. And this is one of the things that was widely announced and covered in many keynotes. So starting from announcements regarding the Bedrock, obviously, there was so many updates regarding models available in terms of versions, new models, new providers. For those of you who haven't used Bedrock at this point, this is something that it can be perceived as a service for foundation models available in AWS. You can customize those foundation models using your organization's data, and it has enterprise-grade security built on. And this is one of the things that actually differentiates from other services available on the market. Because, for example, Bedrock is SOC compliant, and no other solutions is actually even close to be SOC compliant. So this is one of the things that is worth emphasizing. In terms of available models, at the moment, you have those providers available, and they were announced that they are generally available on the reInvent. So before that, we have Anthropic, we have AI21, we have Cohere and Stability AI, and additional versions for Claude, for Cohere, Meta that is available as a Llama 2, models, and also Amazon Titan models were announced on reInvent as the new stuff. So to be very specific, first things first, there was announcement about Claude 2.1. That was a new thing. This is an upgraded version for the regular Claude model with much bigger token context window, reduced hallucinations, and the smaller costs in terms of using through the Bedrock. Then there was, as I said, release of Llama 2 that is generally available. And also Llama 2 is available for fine-tuning, which is pretty interesting. So we can actually seamlessly fine-tune and use the biggest models available, like Llama 2, that's 70 billion parameters, and is available for chat-based applications and the regular ones as well. And then there was announced that a new version of the Stable Diffusion is available, which is 1.0 XL. But obviously, one of the biggest announcements from the Amazon's perspective, AWS perspective, was foundation models that are built by Amazon, which is Amazon Titan family. So first things first, that was available before the reInvent. There were announced Titan text embeddings. So for those of you who haven't heard about the embeddings, this is essentially a presentation of text into the numeric vectors that allows you to perform algorithm like similarity search and similarity comparison between different words and meanings and concepts. And those text embeddings were released, they were available, and they were also a baseline for something that was announced, which are those models. So first things first, there's a Titan Text Lite and Titan Text Express. Those are different sizes of the same model. Light is bigger than Express. Light is smaller than Express, obviously, as the name suggests. So essentially, Express allows you for an open-ended text conversations generation. It has retrieval augmented generative support. Light is smaller, cheaper, and faster in that sense that it answers faster. But at the same time, it has much smaller context window, and it's not as big as the Titan Text Express. And there were announced additional embeddings, this time multimodal. So in this particular case, you don't only have the text embeddings, but also you have embeddings between different modalities, like text, images, and so on. This is pretty helpful in stuff like similarity search or the image search, and detecting those similarities from natural language towards different modalities. And last but not least, there was announced preview of the Titan image generation model. So this is a model that translates from natural language processing to the image generation. And at the same time, it is available in preview, and we can actually demo this in a moment. In terms of other generative AI updates, so Bedrock got customization capabilities, as I told you, fine-tuning, so ability to provide, actually retrain, in air quotes, a foundation model with use of data that is available for your organization. And at this point, you can use Cohere, Llama, and Titan Text, Light and Express, and fine-tune them. Anthropic Claude is not available yet, but will be. It was announced as coming soon. And then there is additional ability to do a continue pre-training for those models that are built by Amazon. So Text Light and Text Express, this is also available for preview. And this is one of the things that is also pretty interesting because it reduces to almost nothing the whole infrastructure around retraining those models. And for those organizations that are actually dealing with this, this is pretty huge improvement. But in terms of how those foundation model works, most of you probably know that they are nothing with your organization or custom data that you can fit in. And actually, knowledge bases for Amazon Bedrock is another very interesting stuff that should be used and will be used very widely, because it is a fully managed way to connect your data towards those foundation models with the pattern called RAG, which is Retrieval Augmented Generation. And that allows you to actually connect an existing vector database to those foundation models and then use data stored in that vector database when you are doing the query. And those vector databases are actually storing those embeddings that I told you earlier, but it's important to have those embeddings built on top of your data. So not the generic ones like that were announced and available. Obviously, they were interesting from the perspective of building your own foundation models maybe, but at the same time, you would like to have data specific for your organization that it's available in a way that it can be used by those models. And then there were a few databases that got the vector search support, Amazon DynamoDB and DocumentDB. With DynamoDB, it is generally available, but it's not as direct as you may think, because that was allowed thanks to the ability to drop the data to S3 and then load that data from S3 to foundation models. So it is zero ETL essentially, but at the same time, it's not as direct as you think. For DocumentDB, you can actually connect the DocumentDB seamlessly. And then those vector databases are available for Amazon Bedrock. At the moment, you can use the vector engine from OpenSearch Serverless. You can connect Redis Enterprise Cloud, Pinecone, and those two additional database engines are coming soon. And then having those knowledge bases available, you can move and actually build on top of that applications. And how to do that? You can use agents for Amazon Bedrock. And this is actually a suite that allows you to connect all those foundation models with your custom code and then react on top of that what will be returned by those LLMs. So you will be able to actually orchestrate with the agents the whole flow around a chatbot conversation or a very automated process that requires those foundation models to react on the input. How does it work? So essentially, you will be doing a request that is going to the agent. Then it will actually create this input for the foundation model, and this will execute plan and complete the task. Obviously, in this particular diagram, we miss the custom actions. So imagine that you are writing a chatbot that reserves the hotels for you or trips. And every single time that you are entering the natural language, like I would like to go to Paris with my wife in this particular date, and I don't want to spend more than $200 per night, it will generate the answer, but at the same time, it won't reserve the hotel as a result of this action. So you need to have a custom action implemented in your code that will do those calls to the APIs. And actually, you can write those with AWS Lambda and embed this in the whole process with the help of the Amazon Bedrock agents. So now you will be able to react on those triggers. You will receive all the information needed, and then you will be able to provide a custom code that will actually execute the action. That's how we build those applications on top of LLMs, but obviously building in a responsible way, it's another topic. One thing to do the proper evaluation is kind of state of art, a dark art at the moment and not state of art. And many teams are differently handling this. And at this point in Bedrock, in preview, there is available an integration with Amazon SageMaker Ground Truth, which is a service to review that data collectively with the help of the either human in the loop or automated way. And this will be also available for Amazon Bedrock to actually evaluate and make sure that those results are accurate, safe, and you can both go automated way and have human in the loop. But the most important stuff is to actually have guardrails. If you are implementing that stuff, it can return a ton of unnecessary and very important information that shouldn't be returned. One example is PII. Another example would be some confidential data. So you can actually apply the guardrails to any foundation model or agent and make sure that those data will be stopped, redacted, or you won't be able to proceed if that data will be returned. So this is one of the ways to handle the whole application development lifecycle for the generative AI in a responsible way in your organizations. Any questions so far regarding generative AI? That was already very much a ton of information around it, what was announced. So if you have any questions, let's go to the...
All right. You have a question, right?
Igit Ali asks, in your opinion, what was the biggest announcement in terms of Gen AI?
If I have to think about it, I would go with announcing the Amazon Titan family models generally available. That was one of the things that was missing in the Bedrock initial Bedrock announcement, and everybody actually waited for those to evaluate and check. So I would say announcing Titan models and family of Titan models.
One more question. For example, if we are building an AI assistant like a simple chat interface, is there a guarantee that Bedrock assistant doesn't misuse the data it's been given?
So I think the question is about that we will feed the data towards the fine-tuning process or RAG process, and then it means that Amazon will not have access to that data. And the answer is no, it won't. So essentially, we need to go into the details, and if there's a company interested in that, they can receive additional information on top of this. But the short answer is that Amazon and AWS do not use the data that is fed to the models. That includes retrieval augmented generation, and also that goes with fine-tuning. So all the data that you have currently in your account and you will feed to those models, they are creating a custom model available just for you, and nobody else will have this data. So this is provided and secured on many levels. That includes network connectivity levels, that includes security, and so on and so on.
Just a moment. I remind you guys that we have prizes on the end that we give to the people who ask the most questions. So, don't feel, like, don't hesitate. I know the people hiding behind, internet is easy to ask the questions. So, anybody? Yes, I love it. I love it. So I give you that mic, okay, and I will take this one.
So yeah, exactly. Actually, even not Google, I used GPT. One thing related to Gen AI is whatever we generate from the private data should be somehow verified, for example, from DLP perspective. So let's say I'm putting the confidential data, I'm trying to play with this data, and I get the new data. Do you have anything in the roadmap to somehow support DLP, saying that, okay, I will check or I will tag this data as a confidential because previously it was confidential. So yeah.
So I would say that the model evaluation that I mentioned is one of the solutions, combined with the ground truth, because you can already do this in the human in the loop. I can imagine that if you have a team that is doing the labeling and everything around this process, you will be able to actually retrieve that information and then mark it as something that it's confidential or that shouldn't be shown. Another thing is guardrails. Essentially, you will be able to write those as a result. Do not provide any information that you don't want to provide as a result. So I would say that those two are actually answering. And we have a tie in the meantime because people are voting for the next category. So I need a little bit more votes to actually decide which part we will go.
There's also a question on your poll.
Oh, good. Thank you. So I see 3 questions. Yep. Bedrock guardrails. Is there another AI which filter answers or heuristics or what? No, so this is actually a way to write your own guardrails that will wrap your foundation models that you will use with Amazon Bedrock.
AI to guard yourself from other AI, and it's like like you put a PlayStation to the car to play the games when you're driving, right?
More like you are writing rules that shouldn't be happened. Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions? All right. No t-shirts today. No.
I'm not surprised that there are so many security questions. That's good. Yeah. So let's see the poll. Maybe there's still something going on there. Okay. So I need to refresh no, show results actually didn't work, so I need to refresh it. Sorry. In the meantime, I hope I didn't lose the.
Just maybe click the 3 on the questions on the top.
You mean here?
Yeah.
No, unfortunately, that's the culprit of using the. We can actually hide those.
Not
so
for
we
you.
have first question. Yeah, finally, but we lost the
developers tool.
I think so. Developers tool and containers and databases. That was the 3 that were before the tie. So let's
exactly
go.
How we agree.
Let's go with the developer tools. So in terms of developer tools, I already covered a little bit of those, obviously, with Amazon Q and Code Catalyst. To add a little bit more, let's go to the other deck and cover the developer tools in details. We will be jumping a little bit. So let me find it. Yep. So here we have it. First things first, as I told you, in Code Catalyst, there was an update to provide you custom blueprints and to define an enterprise tier. So it means that you will be able to enable a customized version of the Code Catalyst for your enterprise that will be available for you inside the organization. So another one is the Code Whisperer new enhancements. I already told you that it's available, supports infrastructure as code, supports additional elements for security scanning for more languages, and it's available in Visual Studio. Then there is one thing that was pretty interesting, but it didn't get a lot of attention. It's called Console to Code, which is essentially a way to generate infrastructure as code from the click ops. So if people will actually click on the console and the AWS console, it will capture actions and then generates from that the IAC in CloudFormation or AWS CDK. Obviously, not the level 2 and 3 constructs in CDK, but at least the basics that will be, again, a skeleton to start from something. And for those of you who used this in the past, there was something that was called AWS Perspective. You installed this inside your organization and the account. That was very cumbersome and problematic. This is a way to actually do it in a much simpler way. Then there's Application Composer for VS Code. And this is pretty cool because this allows you to, with the help of the AWS toolkit that I mentioned, actually embed the AWS Application Composer inside your IDE. And then you will be able to draw the diagram, move the pieces around, generate IAC from that, also edit particular elements of the diagram, like, for example, step functions, because in Application Composer, we can now edit the step functions. So you shouldn't be, in certain applications, you shouldn't be able to leave the IDE. You will be able to develop everything inside your IDE. And it also supports all the CloudFormation resources that are supported at the moment, which wasn't the case previously. Application Composer is supported as a limited subset. How does it look like? So essentially, you can go and inside your own IDE, create a diagram, moving blocks, connect them with the arrows, and then on the left-hand side, as you see, you will be able to see and review the CloudFormation template that is connected underneath. And then if you will actually edit those specific elements like API Gateway, Lambdas, and so on, you should be able to modify those parameters. Not all of them sometimes, but in case of step functions, for example, you will be able to design the whole state machine there. Again, speaking about state functions, there is a few things that were, again, not very noisy in terms of announcement, but very interesting. First things first, optimized integration for Amazon Bedrock. You can use it without any additional Lambda. You are just using the regular API calls as you would do with the other stuff. Then you can integrate third-party APIs. That is pretty interesting because before that announcement, you could do it through either Event Bridge or you will do a Lambda function. Nowadays, you don't have to. You can go it directly from step functions. And then there is the ability to test your states. And this is pretty interesting because it allows you to actually resume a failed state from a certain path. You can actually test it. And you don't need to re-invoke the whole thing and wait for the state machine to go into that particular place. You can actually resume from the particular error and then see if that will follow up and proceed further. Step functions app composer integration, I already told you that we can edit step functions from Application Composer. And then in terms of development updates, there are a few updates regarding SQS. FIFO queues got much bigger throughput. For those of you who used SQS queues, they were still impressive, but at the same time, they didn't have as big scalability as the regular queues. And then you can actually have much closer TPS available now for FIFO queues. Then CloudFormation allows you to somehow do a small subset of GitOps, to put it in the regular words. So it actually allows you to synchronize the whole files that you are available in Git and deploys it automatically through the CloudFormation. And it works with the GitHub repositories, GitHub Enterprise, GitLab, and Bitbucket. And then it will essentially allows you to actually update, push, and then automatically it will be picked up by the CloudFormation. Again, regarding the new small updates that didn't get a lot of noise, managed service for Prometheus got some updates regarding the collectors, support for EKS, and also ability to collect those metrics. And last but not least, 2 SDKs are generally available for Kotlin and for Rust. So Rust was not available was actually available in developer preview for a very long time. Now it's generally available, which means that it gets official support and so on. Kotlin was a little less time in the developer preview, but at the same time, it is also pretty interesting announcement in terms of developer tools. Any questions? Okay, well, maybe this time I will not mess it up. So let's go with the final one. What will be the final category? We don't have a ton of time, but at least we'll be able to cover something quickly. Migration and transfer is winning. Maybe wait for another few voices. Storage is actually pretty interesting because again, it didn't got a ton of coverage, but it got one very important announcement. Any questions? All right, so let's go with the storage then. And that's pretty interesting because it actually, what can you add to this S3 and to the storage announcements, right? S3 is already a perfect service. No, it's not. But at the same time, it's one of the closest to perfection. So let's go to the storage announcements and see what they found out with S3. So one was obviously something called S3 Express One Zone Storage Class. And this is a huge announcement, but it didn't get a lot of coverage, as I told you. So from now on, you can actually create a new bucket type that will have certain additional naming convention changes, which is called an S3 directory, and this will be pinned to availability zone. And for those of you who work with S3 buckets, you know that first things first, S3 is a global service. You are creating an S3 bucket in a specific region. So how we can pin a bucket for a certain availability zone if we shouldn't know about it from the perspective of the buckets. So it turns out that there were some use cases where actually the latency for S3, even that it's impressive, it's still too big. And if you would like to lower that latency, you cannot cheat and fool the physics. So the only way to actually lower down this is to make all those source and destination closer. To make them closer, you need to put them in the same availability zone. And that's why team prepared a new set of bucket types that allows you to, with a certain restrictions, that allows you to connect a particular bucket to your resources in that single availability zone with lowest possible latency. Obviously, that has some design considerations. So when you are creating that bucket, you are also saying in what availability zone you want to have that bucket. So it's not a bucket that is regionally available, even that S3 is global, but still it will be pinned to a particular availability zone. But that improves a ton in terms of latency, 10x in many cases. So you will be able to achieve the single-digit millisecond latency for reads and writes. And it's already integrated with Athena, EMR, and many other elements. And still, there's one trade-off. So you get speed, but you will pay more. And sometimes this is like 6-7 times more. So this is one of the things that it needs to be stated. But at the same time, for many use cases, this wouldn't be a go-to solution. Only in cases when you need exactly very small latency to access the data from S3. And the most important stuff is that it has support for S3 mount point. How many of you heard about S3 mount point before? Not so many. So this is actually a way to mount your S3 buckets as a regular mounted directories on your Linux machines. And this is actually pretty impressive thing because now you can actually mount that zone-specific bucket, and then you will be able to access the data in the lowest possible latency as the regular file system. So in terms of the other elements, You have something called S3 access grants that allows you to define access permissions in Amazon S3 by prefix, bucket, or object. And you can map it to the identity center, which maps hopefully to your corporate identity. Then you have mount point for Amazon S3. This was available earlier before reinvent and also extended before reinvent, but it got support for Kubernetes as the CSI, so container storage interface, which is pretty cool in terms of how you can integrate with EKS now, and support for S3 Express One Zone storage class that I mentioned earlier. Accelerated data transfer is available and has faster gets and puts. That's another impressive thing. Then updates for EFS for price and performance. You have EFS archive storage class, which is allow you to pay a little bit less for archival data that is available as a NFS, network file share. Then there are a few updates for FSX, mostly for OpenZFS. So this is pretty interesting for people that are using those kind of specialized mounts and mount points. A few updates for ONTAP, and so NetApp support for FSX, and a few updates for backup. Again, incremental ones, but allows you to sleep much better in terms of restoring and testing that restores. And in terms of storage, but not exactly storage, there was one additional service announced that allowed you to automate and transform automatically the electronic data interchange between, for example, B2B companies that are exchanging data in certain formats. At the moment, it supports XML and JSON, but I can imagine that this will be pretty quickly expanded to other formats, and actually allows you to build this kind of a catalog of available ADI formats that will be available in the organization, and then integrate between partners and pair with other partners to actually exchange the data in a controlled way. And we are coming on to the close thing. And I would like to ask you one final question, which will be a tricky one. So what are you missing in terms of the announcements at this year at re:Invent? Maybe someone has some ideas that are still missing, or maybe I missed something and we didn't cover it today, but maybe it will be worth mentioning. So if there's something, either say it out loud or vote on the Slido.
Yeah, I have one. I'm missing a price reduction.
Price reduction for what?
For everything.
I expected an answer. So price reduction for everything is not in place, but there were some significant price reductions for many services, true. FinOps. Yeah, actually, I missed that, but that was actually partially covered. So in terms of FinOps, AWS joined the organization and the movement before re:Invent, and there were a few very important announcements in terms of console updates for billing, management. The whole console actually get a new UI. There were additional features available as well. So you will have access to the slide deck, hopefully, so you will be able to go and review it. EC2 on P series. So I think it refers to the P families, right? I mean, P instance families, P2, P5, right? Or not? Oh, so you mean the completely new architecture? Oh, yeah, that's true. There's nothing like this. Landing zone related topics. Yeah, I don't recall any announcement around landing zones. So I think this is one thing that is indeed missing this year. Any other thoughts?
Do we have any questions?
The same for Outposts. We didn't have any announcements regarding Outposts. 1,000 SCPs still. SCP. Oh yeah, that's another one. Yeah, true. This is this is service control policy. So this is actually a hard limit. Yeah, it can be pesky. I agree. That's another good feedback that you should provide to the service teams through your account managers. All right, if there are any other questions, that's the final time to actually ask them. If not, I have two small announcements. So before the reInvent, there was announced something called Party Rock. And this is actually a way to experiment and play with the generative AI applications. For those of you who haven't heard about it, this is essentially a UI that allows you through natural language processing and generate an application, a whole application, which is, again, depending on your creativity, either advanced or very simple one. People generated stuff like haiku generators, podcast topic generators, but at the same time, I generated something that prepares me as a result, a full fitness meal plan for the whole week. After I will provide all the preferences, calorie limits, and so on and so on. So go check it out. This is pretty interesting app to actually start an experiment with the generative AI, and then with Bedrock underneath, because it's powered by Bedrock. So this will be a first entry point. And then obviously a survey. So you can give me feedback about this particular recap. I try to make it as much interactive as possible. So hopefully you will get something from that. Thank you so much for your attention. And that's everything what I got.
Thank you very much. Don't hesitate to talk to Wojtek. He will stay with us a little bit.
Maybe we have any questions right now. Last moment.
Last t-shirts, last caps, last gadgets. Nobody. All right, cool. Wojtek, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All right, so now, Maria, should we make some break, or we go straight forward to PMI, to Michał and Jacek?
We need to change the...
Yeah, we will
devices.
change. So guys, we will change the laptops, do this stuff. So we have like up to 5 minutes to, if you want to grab something from the bar or toilet break or something, and then come back, because we will talk about the most fascinating subject on the planet. It's InfoSec. It's definitely something you want to talk about.
Yeah, we had a new access control to S3 bucket, so that's great.
Yeah. Good
New ways of making mistakes.
In a second, we will show you guys as well the questions. So we have some giveaways from Philip Morris International IT Hub. So you need to jump into the quiz, scan the code. We will steal. No, we will not steal everything. It's an InfoSec secured, like proper QR code that will not steal anything from you. So you enter there, answer some questions, and you have a chance to win. Not to win, to be. How we should say it, Maria? To win the backpacks, or we just pick up the people who, how it's gonna be? 3 backpacks. Vouchers. Yeah, we'll make a raffle in the end. No, yeah, we'll make a raffle. Yeah, some socks, some caps. So guys, go for it.
And also
Jumpers,
we
yeah.
still got vouchers.
Vouchers, yeah. The vouchers for AWS,
reals.
not Amazon, like I'm saying every time, So funny. Maria, dostajesz nóżkę? Okay, everybody, let's go grab some pizza, grab some drinks, sit down, please. And I'm inviting on stage Michał and Jacek. Guys, are you ready? Ready. Michał, grabbing beverages. Okay, perfect. Będziecie po angielsku czy po polsku? Śmiecie. Tam to trzeba zapowiedzieć. Dużo chętnych jednak po angielsku. Skończyliśmy pływać po polsku 3 lata temu. 50-60% nie mówi po polsku. To jest z jednej strony zaskakujące. Okay, so we as well want to thanks for Veeam. If you want to join this this QR code, you are able to get some license from Veeam to backup and replicate your AWS resources. We're waiting for one. I don't want to call speaker. Speaker is this thing, right? So it's so yes. No, you didn't miss your presentation. Don't worry, buddy. Just don't worry, you know. Oh, yeah, perfect. Okay, everybody, please join us here. Sit down, and we will. Whoa! Already, you dropped the mic. Okay, perfect. It's yours. It's yours then. That's so easy.
Raz, dwa, trzy.
Okay, so we will talk about, like I said, a little bit of security, a little bit of information security subject. Our everlasting partner and sponsor and friends from Philip Morris International IT HUB. Guys, the stage is yours.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jacek. I'm working for Philip Morris about 25 years. Majority of that time is security. I would like to give you some marketing part, and then later on I will pass the voice to Michał, who will touch more technical aspect. So Philip Morris International is a worldwide company represented in majority of regions. So we have four IT hubs spread around the globe. And then one of them, which is quite important, is located in Kraków. Look, Philip Morris is a production company producing, doing research and development, selling, also using e-commerce platforms and so on. So for all of those solutions, we need to have competencies on our side. So companies may decide about two approaches. Either use other companies to do it for themselves or build the competency inside. So our decision inside Philip Morris International was to build the competencies inside our companies. So that's why we have a quite big IT hub in Krakow. So if you go to that QR code, you will see certain of still open positions in our IT hub. We have people who are really subject matter experts in various domains, starting from infrastructure, from services, from AWS, and so on. So also we have quite big group of security guys, more than 20 people located in Krakow. If you are talking about the whole population of IT, so we have about 400 people in IT. And still we have more than 20 open positions. So feel free to reach out to our site and see if you can find for yourself some some offers, some proposals. Right now, I would like to pass the voice to Michał, who will touch more technical aspect, which is close between our partner, AWS, and then this is what we did together with them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. My name is Michał, and or Michael. It depends how it's easier to pronounce. So yes, I would like to present. I don't have so many slides like Wojtek, but I think I have quite interesting case study touching the industrial IoT and, of course, information security. So what I would like to present here is a kind of, let's say, simple approach of usage of AWS security components to secure the industrial infrastructure. So let's start from the problem. In 2016, PMI announced so-called RRP, reduced risk products. I don't know if someone of you smoking or smokes. There is a product, for example, called IQOS with heats. So PMI started producing and selling such kind of products, and because announcement and changes in the products also are related to the changes in manufacturing, PMI also start thinking how to be more efficient when it comes to the production. So right now we have around 31% of revenue from RRP products. We are in 67 countries, marketplaces. But we targeting till 2025 around 50% from the RRP, and also we want to cover 100 different marketplaces. This require also preparation from manufacturing footprint, manufacturing activities. So we ask ourselves, actually, we face the problems, how to be more mature, how to be manufacturer of the future, how to use the industrial 4.0, how to be much more into the speed when it comes to the production, how to properly collect the data from the footprint, directly from the machinery, use them for the production, for the improvement of the business, and actually at the end for better efficiency and also to be more agile when it comes to the production. So last year, 2022, we set up cooperation with AWS. We set up such kind of, let's say, cooperation, which is called PACO, PMI AWS cooperation. And then together with AWS, we start the project called Prodigy. Personally, in Polish language, I just call it Prodzisz. So this project actually targeting all of those problems which I mentioned. Actually, the efficiency, the improvement in general. We want to generate, of course, at the end proper revenue and generate a proper business continuity in sustainable way. So looking from this very simple picture, we have like a business drivers. For example, in manufacturing, we want to have much more effective machine onboarding. We want to have kind of learning and inspection of those machines, and also we want to better manage our fleet, not only from the hardware perspective, but as well from the applications perspective. So targeting those things, I mean, those, let's say, 3 simple applications, simple maybe from the name, sorry. We also need to think about the data. We also need to think about the simple CIA approach, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So we want to 100% sure that our data, PMI data, is secure, network is secure. We have additional security controls to actually secure this data. And in general, we want to be much more mature when it comes to the security, information security in manufacturing. Also, what is important, we need to keep in mind regulation things, because right now, due to the RRP, PMI also becoming, I would say, more like a pharmaceutical company. So also we need to fulfill some of the regulation, for example, FDA, when it comes to the as well data. And also what is crucial, this project as well covers such kind of things like OPC UI. It's a dedicated communication protocol, secure communication protocol for industry, together with the so-called TMC, tobacco machine communication. I don't know, maybe for you it's a new buzzword, but there is dedicated communication protocol in tobacco. It was set up by 4 big tobacco players. One of them is, of course, PMI, but also there is a British American Tobacco, Japanese, and the 4th one, sorry, I don't recall right now, but it's as well big player. OPC helps to properly exchange data between different machinery on the floor, on the machinery plant, in the factory. And TMC, we can use this as a kind of vocabulary. So what kind of names, what kind of parameters we should use and standardize for, especially for the tobacco industry. So I will focus only on machine onboarding. Also, it's worth to mention that this project is ongoing. So as well, I'm sharing as much I can share from what we already built. And yeah, let's see how this machine onboarding looks like. This is PDF, so I can see that some of the bubbles is already there. If we look from the manufacturing perspective, the networking looks a bit different. So we have floor plant, then we have something in the middle processing the data from the machinery, and then this data somehow is aggregated, changed, modified, and is going to the IT to make some business decisions. For that purpose, many years ago, there was established a so-called purview module, which is kind of segmentation of the network, allowing to somehow set up the security. But unfortunately or fortunately, due to the technology changes, this purview module is already somehow outdated. And Industry 4.0 addressing this in a bit different way. However, we can say that we have like 3 main sectors or 3 main layers. We have a floor layer, we have then the edge processing layer, and we have, let's call it, business or office layer. So what you can see here on this diagram is example where we collecting different type of data from machinery. So on the data sources, we have OPC servers. So there is this specific communication protocol which allowing in secure way to exchange the data and communicate with different type of machinery, translate them, and send to the next level, next layer. Then we have dedicated IoT gateway. This IoT gateway collect this data. It's not only about combining and collecting data, because there is also such kind of things like a global discovery server. This global discovery server is kind of book, kind of ledger for the OPC UI servers. So it keeps certificates. It's also know all of the OPC UI servers. But in general, during the machine onboarding, we want to quickly onboard new machine with specific application. Right now, in the, let's say, old-fashioned way, it took from 14 to 16 weeks. We want to do it on the daily basis, I will say. Of course, there are sometimes limitations, like because of the COVID, we have lack of silicon, and there was an implication in the hardware itself. So we have data on the left. Here you can see that we want to have the telemetry data, discovery data, transparency data, different type of data from machinery. We want to combine this data to get the proper context. share this data with a specific logic to do the proper things for our business purpose, and present this data at the end to, for example, make the reports, change if everything is fine, figure out about any predictive maintenance, etc., etc. So we can say that we have like a data source layer, we have injection layer, we have management layer, presentation layer, and then at the end access layer. And what is crucial for us from InfoSec perspective is, like I said on the beginning, secure the data from confidentiality. So we know that any type of confidential data will not leak. From integrity, we want to be sure that no one will play with our data, change this data, and also from availability. If this data is crucial for our business, it needs to be available, let's say, from 5 nines or 3 nines at least. Okay, so to do that, first of all, we need to make the secure provisioning of IoT gateway. We need to know, we need to be 100% sure that this gateway is the gateway we thought it is, and it's attached to our network in the proper procedure, so it's properly authenticated, and of course later authorized. We also want to be 100% sure that the operation system and applications are as well properly secure, because they are processing the data, so data as well need to be secure there. To do that, because we are intercepting, we let's say jumping between different layers, we need to secure the network. When we secure the network and we are accessing a specific application, we also want to know that proper person, proper user is accessing this system. There is a proper profiles, etc. So there are at least few aspects how we should approach security of such kind of machine onboarding. So how it looks like with the AWS components. Again, the diagram which you saw just on the previous slide, it's a bit turned in a way how the Purge model looks like. I mean, how the Purge model describes it. So we, on the bottom, we have the shop floor, then we have kind of edge, or let's say cloud, factory cloud, and then we have the proper cloud where we have our business logic. The crucial role right now in machine onboarding is the AWS IoT Greengrass. This is dedicated, let's call it appliance, which allows us to be closer to take the cloud to the edge. Greengrass is supporting us, or let's say let's say amazing in different aspects. It helps us to secure the hardware, means that we can use so-called TPM, Trusted Platform Module. This is like specific CPU for cryptographics, where we have dedicated private and public key. And when we are doing certification and authentication of the device, we can use this dedicated hardware module to be sure that this device is our device. Then on the other layer is connected with the so-called IoT core, IoT Greengrass core, where we have all of the policies, privileges, profiles, groups, etc., etc. So it's managing our devices. Also, what is important, Greengrass allowing us to connect other devices which are on the below layer as well in the secure way. And very important thing, when we will combine this with the SSM agent, with the service management agent, and with the CloudWatch, we augmenting security to the really next level. In general, Greengrass also allows us to, of course, build different type of application, but when it comes to the security, Greengrass as well as SSM agent don't allow for the inbound connection, inbound traffic. This is very crucial. Means that we just blocking one surface attack. Our machine is not looking for any outside connectivity. If we combine AWS Greengrass with the CloudWatch and SSM agent, we have, let's say, kind of asset inventory. On top of that, we can put the patch management, and together with the CloudWatch, we can monitor and observe any anomaly. Of course, we need to combine this with the IoT Device Defender, which will raise any type of issues. For example, if the certificate is outdated or it's close to the end life, it will raise the alert. But also, IoT Device Defender will check the traffic and check the anomaly if something is happening from the outbound as well inbound perspective. What is crucial, I forgot actually, I should start from the AWS Direct Connect. So I don't know if you heard about AWS Direct Connect, it's quite important element for connectivity. All of the world, let's say, is moving to the cloud. So actually, it's quite important thing to be properly connected, because imagine the situation that we will lose this pipe. So we have like 20, 30 manufacturing plants, and those plants suddenly losing the connectivity to the heart, to the most important system, which is moved to the cloud. It's a very crucial. It's very important. AWS provide Direct Connect. AWS built, I think it's still building, I'm not up to date in this case, their own backbone, their own network, means that whenever we're using Direct Connect, we are not going to the public internet. This is quite important. What is crucial or what is important during the configuration, because it's like a private network, by default is not secure, so we also need to take care about proper encryption setup. So we secure our pipe. We have the green grass. We have additional components which are monitoring our devices. Then we have IoT Core. This is like the main important part, which is responsible for the. Maybe it's also crucial in case of cooperation. When we look from OPC servers perspective. To run properly OPC servers, we also need to have like let's say watchdog, which is the global discovery server. And in this case, heads up, AWS create the GDS server for PMI. So actually, this product is pure for PMI. It was created for us. Like I mentioned before. Global discovery server allows us to properly manage the OPC servers which are on the bottom. Okay, having IoT Core, we can set up different type of policy. We can set up different type of profiles. We can manage through IoT Core certificates. We can set up the roles. In general, it's managing from policy perspective as well from the somehow data perspective, our devices. Then we have the IoT Device Manager or management. It's managing our fleet, so it's supporting IoT Core. I mentioned already about IoT Device Defender. And then together with the agents for CloudWatch and SSM, we have, in general, CloudWatch, we have the System Manager and also CloudTrail. This is allowing us to collect events, collect logs, check anomalies, in general, observe what is going on, not only from the network perspective, but as well from the application perspective. What else we are using? Of course, we are using EIM. We are using a directory to be connected and work under our identity. So we are combined with AD. What is crucial? We're using a KMS and the secret manager to, let's say, offload our activities when it comes to the different type of cryptographic management. So I think that's all. This is kind of case study. It's not showing the whole beauty, but like I said, it's an ongoing project. It's just a part of of what we are doing. And I think what is important, maybe just 2-3 words. I was not able to present that, but at the end, what we're receiving tons of telemetry data, but in the proper context. Means that in easier way, we can build another layer of applications as well. Greengrass allowing us to add some AI, ML. We just discussed about AI a few minutes before, AI logic for example, predictive maintenance. So it's very, very important. It's allowing us to work faster and actually implement different type of ideas, business logic as well, quite faster, and everything in accordance to security books.
Can I have a question? So if you use Pardoor model, and you said that you have generally like three layers, so that means that you have as well 2 layers of digestion edge. So you have factory cloud layer, which is the first edge.
Yeah,
and this is a kind of interlayer between the layers. So you connect the business side through this. So this is your before DMZ zone, like, so the shop floor is completely in DMZ, right?
Yes, we can say like that. Actually, to be more precise, PMI have its own Purview module, which is not presented here from different reasons. But yeah, you can somehow translate this. You can somehow
so it's like edge inside the edge.
Edge inside the edge. Yes.
And you have the edge for. I'm curious here because it's not very common that you have double edge setup. So you have the edge for each segment of IoT, right? So you have the specific floor segment, then you build ingestion edge with the edge gateway, with the green grass or wherever there. And then you build on top of that distributed edge to take this data and present that data. So this industrial IT core is distributed, and yes, the edges are, there can be a few edges.
Exactly.
Depends from the segment, right?
Yeah, so imagine that here we have just one IoT gateway, but in reality it will be like, I don't know, hundreds, let's say, of IoT gateways. So also between them, there will be specific segmentation. Depends of the, for example, business line or business logic. But yeah, we can consider that this is like a nest, or nest. Let's say extra layer.
Yeah, we need your help. All right, so I just continue because I'm really curious about this architecture. So the enablement of the new infrastructure, like new machines, like you said, is generally you prepare the nested edge and connect it to IoT core, right? So it's not like so the deployment of industrial IT edge gateway part, it's like consistent. So every part of it will be the same.
Only application will change.
Yeah, of course.
And also what is important to mention, because also we spent some time of the selection of the specific gateway from the hardware perspective. And of course, here we're just looking from the, let's call it cloud perspective, because we use
top to bottom.
Yeah, but if we look, let's say, from the hardware perspective, there are also specific procedures, because what is important, everything need to be aligned with NIST, with EAC 62443, and also with EAC 95. So let's say old-fashioned Purview model. So each hardware, or I mean, it's a once or twice preparing the proper scripts and workflow is properly hardened. So there is a hardening procedures. We have, let's say, few flavors of hardware, depends of what we need to do, depends of the, I would say, how tough or how what is the size of the applications. And yeah, it's also very crucial to properly harden the hardware and prepare for that.
When you drop the old-fashioned Pardoor model, you drop it because you have this arrows there, right, between the industrial IoT edge and the industrial IoT core, right? So when you take like orthodox Pardoor model, they will never be two ways.
Yes.
Right. So I assume that you leave the Pardoor model because of this limitation of the new cloud native wherever stuff, right?
Yes. You know, the thing is that even if we look from the latest announcement from ENISA about Purview, they already modified that. But if we look from the limitation, or actually not limitations, actually new technology actually allows you actually from the very beginning starts to be secure. Because if we look on those machineries, a lot of them are running still
Windows 98.
But it's even not about the Windows. It's also about the PLCs, about I/O, about analog signals, and also protocols which are owned by a specific vendor. So this was the problem. So with OPC-UI connectivity, we actually augmenting that, or let's say.
So it allows you to introduce the standard between the inside the edge and out to the cloud that Philip Morris described.
Yeah, actually, if you look from the proper approach, or maybe not proper, but like a template architecture, we should have here at least 3 or 4 approaches. One will be for the legacy, where also this can be applied. Then we can have somewhere in the middle, and then we have strictly IoT things, like I don't know, printer for the labels, which is already actually can have already on the machinery level, even AWS Greengrass by default, because it's also happening. Yes.
We have a question. Okay, so from the void, and we come back. Okay.
Igit again asks, because he remembers that PMI also collects data from HVAC equipments in the factories globally. I was wondering if IoT sensors or RRP manufacturing machines use same infrastructure with HVAC equipment sensors.
Difficult question. Difficult from confidentiality perspective.
Don't worry, I'm your lawyer. You can do it. Just do it.
I will try to do it in the answer in the proper way. This project is almost 2 years old, and sooner or later it will be implemented across, I would say, most of the business line representing RRP.
Thank you. So any questions? All right. Really? No questions? Like, it's crazy lovely. All right, there's one. I'll go for it. No worries. Nice.
And what is the main driver to implement AWS Greengrass, like to get analytics from your shop floor?
One more time. Could you please repeat?
Like, what is the main driver to implement AWS Greengrass? To get analytics from shop floor? Because technically, you could do it all the way, yes? Like,
not only. The main driver was also cryptographic, simplicity of cryptographic approach. So we can authenticate our devices in a very simple way. Also, there is another things which we consider as well, because we have already a lot of infrastructure and systems and application in the AWS cloud. So this was like the continuous approach. So I would say, first of all, cryptographic approach. Second of all, simplicity of deployment of the application. And if we look from the general perspective, scalability.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, guys. Okay. Thank you very much. I will just drop another slide. I think we have. Go. Quiz time. Yeah, quiz time. So, okay, remember that packages are for people who ask the most questions there, right? So there we have 2. So we still have something, right? So go for quiz, answer the questions, and we'll, after that, pick some winners.
I think you are winning. I think you are winning currently with the most amount of questions.
Shit. I have them already, I cannot take them. Come on, it's just like, it's impossible. Maria, do we have some answers on the agenda on this? I see still that somebody's replying. Okay, so let's give it a couple minutes. So this was our last meeting this year, unfortunately, because there is not much year left. but we will come back on the beginning of the new year. We don't know yet exactly, but usually it's somewhere in February because nobody wants to do anything in January and there is no money in January. So February is just better for everybody, right? And we will do as well something called AWS Community Day next year on the mid-spring. In Warsaw, we organize every year. It's going to be 3rd edition this year. The Community Day, which brings all the AWS user group across the country in one spot. Unfortunately, Warsaw. But I couldn't, like advertise that to go in Krakow because Warsaw, it's uncomfortable to everybody, right? The same way. So everybody needs to travel. Beside the Warsaw guys who traveled there like 10 years ago from their villages somewhere, like I see you, Dominic. So, so we'll have the community day. We'll close the quiz. And do you have any winners of the quiz? Just a second. It's the worst. Now you talk.
Me?
Yeah. How come?
You were wrong with Warsaw.
Give them a chance.
Who is playing right now? Who is guilty? Okay, you're guilty. Okay, perfect. But don't worry. All right, I think it's finished. So we have somebody who even responds correctly to all the questions. You listen carefully. Not that carefully, though. But first, I will give the packages. You pick the people who ask the most questions because
Okay,
you was very carefully watching.
Yeah, so you are winning.
No, I'm out of the discussion. Come on.
But there was someone on the front who was asking questions. Do you remember? You were giving
No.
the mic.
No. Oh, he stand up. Look. Come on. Let's go for it. Let's go for it. You're a sponsor of it, so you have full right to give it. Please. Yeah, we have there. Yeah, perfect. The second one.
Who was asking questions?
I see this guy there.
You can lie. We don't remember.
Look, this guy's sitting there. He doesn't ask the question. No. Yep. Let's go back. Yep. Hey, so you are so calm today. It's unbelievable. You're tired after a whole year of winning. Nobody wants a backpacker and the stuff. Actually, they have very nice clock. I think
that's probably because usually the same guys are asking questions. Probably they have
we
like
should start
5 backpacks.
We should start to pay different one. Maybe they will just be more popular. Okay, so you need to give to somebody who you really like. Now, it's just like so simple, and then
maybe just throw it.
Some Santa Claus. Some question. Yes, well, there was a few things about last presentation and something with the green sun. Do you remember the name of the services?
Hands up. Yeah, this guy first. Green grass.
Green grass, yes.
We'll get tomorrow.
Yeah.
But this will give the people who answer correctly. Maria, do you have the people? Yeah. Woo, we have the people. So give Maria a mic.
Who is that?
And, so first, who's the first?
First is M. Stadnik, 79.
79. So, buddy, we know or your size or age, where like the year when you born. So, thank you. This is XXXXL. It fits, right? So that's perfect, All right. So we have more now. The caps and the socks together, okay? Because look how marvelous it is, So you can put only the cap and only the socks, right? So this is the funny part. All right. So who we have, Maria?
It is a bit quite complicated.
All right.
Someone who is VLVEKLX4.
Oh my
I
God!
think we can read it as Vivek.
Buddy, Buddy, so you can have a backpack and only this on yourself, you know, and just don't send me the picture, okay? Just don't send me the picture. Enjoy. All right.
It is easier. It is Dominic's Coveron.
Dominic's Coveron.
07.
07. So you've 7 times to forget your password, right? All right, perfect. Congratulations. Just don't remember. Just don't share the pictures after that. Okay.
Set Sour OC.
Oh, how first jump. Yeah, it's me. Woo! Congratulations, buddy. And the last but not least, get the 2 socks and 1 hat.
Oh, this is a guy from YouTube. Absolutely.
YouTube guy.
He deserved.
He deserved definitely for 2 pairs of socks.
You get Ogun.
Buddy, if you are from Poland, we will send you that. If you're not from Poland, you fly in for the next one and you get it. Okay? So enjoy. Let's go.
Or we can exchange this stuff
for vouchers.
For vouchers.
For vouchers. Okay, so we will give it up here. Okay, perfect. So we'll send you. You will not get the socks, but if you flew in, I will give you socks. Don't worry. Like an opera, you get a socks. You get a socks.
Yeah. So the socks for
who's the last one, but not least.
Miłosz.
You get the socks and deep racer. Yes, congratulations. You have a perfect present to come back to your family for this marvelous day and give everybody, you know, it's like a tradition. You get the socks, right? Thank you very much. Like I said, last meeting this year. You want to give everything right now? Yeah, because the end is, you know, 3 more vouchers. Like, just go for it. Just go for it. Who get the vouchers?
Mateusz Kopyto.
Mateusz Kopyto, are you here? Are you happy? But remember, it's AWS vouchers, so you will not buy your socks there. Okay, for Amazon.
Next is Anna S. GDPR.
Anna S. Anna is very happy. Cool, perfect. Woo.
And the last is Andrei.
Andrei. You get another one. So you go from the backpack, you go with the vouchers. Now, buddy, we wait for something that you will be present here for those money in those backpacks, right? So remember, everybody, this is the stage when you can all enter, right? So we have our lovely guests from the companies that support us, but we always have place for you. So if you want to share something that you built and you had the success or you failed, in both ways, did something, it's going to be perfect.
I just want to add that we have 1 more voucher, right?
Unbelievable. I'm like saying goodbye like 5 times.
You cannot say goodbye.
I can.
That's all.
And the last voucher goes to Kamil K. Kamil Kli.
Kamil, perfect, perfect. Woo! Congrats. So, like I said, the stage is for you as well. So you can find us on Twitter, you can find us on Meetup. Just send us information. It not needs to be like full-time, 45 minutes, hardcore demo presentation that everybody will fall asleep. Okay, we don't look for that, right? We look for something that you will in 50, 20, maybe 30 minutes, you will share something interesting that you did, maybe with the Bedrock. Maybe you will do something with the internistic security. Yes, right? Oh, perfect.
I like it.
Yeah, they're perfect.
Was on every community day, so.
Exactly.
You just not invited me to this meetup.
Never. And remember, this stage can be something that it will take you there to AWS Community Day. And maybe it will be like for many people in the community, help you to find another better journey somewhere in your work. So we will help you here. It's a safe place, more or less.
Not sure.
Not sure, but the questions are, you know, like we are polite, right? So feel invited. Thank you very much. And Merry Christmas if you're going for Christmas, or happy holiday time, right? So thank you very much.
One little thing I really need, the deed.
Now karaoke.
Okay, yeah, karaoke sessions. We forgot about it.
Baby, so hurry down the chimney tonight. Santa cutie, and fill my stocking with a duplex and checks. Sign your X on the line, send to cutie, and hurry down the chimney tonight.